Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
David Salvatore was in with us when he led the Providence City Council a while back. Now he's back with us as director of the nonprofit Providence Foundation with maybe a different perspective on some things. David, welcome back.
Thank you, Gene, for having me.
Well, you know what? Distinguish the Providence Foundation from the Rhode Island Foundation. One is a larger group,
yes,
and one is funded differently than yours. Go ahead.
Yes. So the Rhode Island Foundation is responsible for the philanthropic needs of the state of Rhode Island. I tell folks all the time, if you're looking for grant money, go and see the other David.
Right.
I'm not that David.
That's
I ask
David
for money.
Cicilline.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the Providence Foundation is laser focused on advancing bold visionary measures that enhance downtown Providence. So two very distinct missions.
Where do you get your money from?
From contributions from our members, made up of the for-profit, nonprofit sectors. Proud to say that we have 130 members and growing. And these are folks who are invested in downtown Providence and understand what the ripple effect is on the rest of the state of Rhode Island. If downtown Providence does well economically, so does the rest of the state.
So these are businesses that have an interest in Providence doing better. And by the way, full disclosure, Channel 10 is a member?
Yes.
Okay. And so are a bunch of other companies.
Yes.
Now, you're not a lobbyist for these companies, are you?
Not for the individual companies.
You know, you've got an idea that reflects your membership.
That's
so
right.
Go ahead.
We advocate, again, for issues that impact the downtown.
Yeah.
Now, we don't advocate on behalf of a single member. For instance, in the late 90s or the early 90s, the Providence Foundation partnered with the state of Rhode Island and the city of Providence to relocate, to literally move the 195 highway.
Okay.
And that opened up 30 acres of developable land that we see today. The Capitol Center, that opened up while uncovering the rivers and creating new placemaking opportunities, opened up opportunity for the convention center, the mall, and other measures and projects.
But when you put forth your idea, your vision, it's the vision of the members who fund you. It's business's vision.
That's right.
Of how to make Providence a better place.
That's right. We have a board of directors. But again, we have the membership as well. We meet monthly, and we keep them abreast of what it is that we're advocating for in the conversations that we're having in City Hall and with leaders in the State House. And they have a voice at that table. So if there's an idea that they have, they can bring it to us. They can let us know how it impacts their respective organization. But holistically speaking, how does it positively impact downtown Providence?
All right. Now, you know, you used to be the city council president.
Yes.
And then in your introduction, I said maybe you have a different perspective now, speaking for some of the businesses that fund you. Have you learned something? Do you have a different perspective? It's one thing to be the council president, another to be the business organization or the foundation telling you what you ought to do.
Yeah. So during my time on the city council, and I think this was not frustrating, but some folks couldn't understand why I was so passionate about downtown Providence. Again, I knew what the ripple effect was on the rest of the city. And if downtown Providence was successful, then I knew that the constituents that I represented in my neighborhoods were going to succeed as well. Looking at what's happening downtown today, very different than it was when I was a child. Okay, we're thriving economically. We have more people living in downtown Providence, not something that I ever thought I would see as a child. So there are a lot of good things happening, but there are opportunities as well. Today, where there was commercial activity, that vacancy rate today is upwards of 40%. So we have to start dialoguing with folks in City Hall, leaders at the State House, on how we incentivize developers and property owners to transform these properties so that people are living there. There's obviously a dire need for more housing in the state. We believe that downtown Providence could be a leader in this space. All
right. Now, you have to be a cheerleader, too.
Yes.
But why don't you give us the medicine? You know, Kennedy Plaza's got problems. We want to get the buses out of there. The Hospital Trust Tower is up for auction. Superman is empty. The mall is bankrupt.
Yeah.
Here.
These are all opportunities, Gene.
Oh my
They're
word!
all
That's the politician in you. All opportunities. Where do you want to begin? Chronologically, alphabetically, geographically? Start with the hospital trust tower, the big white one.
Hospital
Belly
trust.
up.
Correct. We have to look at these buildings in a way that not only attracts businesses, but provides, again, property owners with the ability, incentivize them to create residential opportunities. Now, that particular building, I think would be very difficult to transform for residential purposes. We have in Providence, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, the third highest effective commercial property tax rate in the country.
That's high.
That's high.
That's very
high. So we have to incentivize. I know incentives are not popular, but without a suite of incentives for these property owners and developers, we're not going to see the level of activity that we saw prior to the pandemic.
Let's go next door, Superman building.
Fill it with residents.
Lingering story in the news for years.
Once again, an opportunity to add 300 more residents in downtown Providence. Look,
why don't you do it? Look! How many times have we seen this file tape? The guy in Boston owns it. Nothing's happening there. A deal, no deal. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Go ahead. I mean, you're talking about. Let's put people in there. When?
The financing, I think, of some of these buildings are challenging. Post-pandemic, property owners and developers have experienced higher costs for labor. We see what's happening in Washington relative to tariffs. These are concerns that are on the minds of property owners and developers, not only here in Providence, but across the country. But I believe that we are close to getting that building filled and a project started. And that could be the catalyst to drive a lot of the economic vitality and activity that we want to see in the greater Kennedy Plaza area.
Well, if you put people in there, you have to put a supermarket. You got to give them things to sustain them. The building that we looked at before, the Hospital Trust, whoever owns that, they're going to take a haircut. There are tenants in there paying good rent. Maybe Joe Palin will buy that place if the deferred maintenance hasn't gone that far. Before we go over to the mall, Kennedy Plaza's got the buses in it.
Yes.
You support getting rid of those buses. The foundation supports moving those buses out.
It's not about getting rid of buses.
No.
It's about
moving them out of Kennedy Plaza.
Move them out of Kennedy Plaza, relocate them to the train station. That is an opportunity that has already been implemented in cities across America, linking bus service with rail service.
Makes sense.
So this isn't only about relocating buses. This is an opportunity to create an economic opportunity. Yesterday, we hosted a forum with GrowSmart RI about transportation and what it could mean for the business community in downtown Providence. We haven't talked enough about transportation. When I speak with folks who reside outside of the state and even folks who live in Providence and in Rhode Island, who resided outside of Rhode Island, they'll say, we use bus service all of the time. Well, why aren't we taking advantage of that same transportation mode right here in Rhode Island? The system needs investment. It needs some upgrades and improvements, but I believe we can get there, and that's an economic win, I believe, for businesses.
As much sense as that makes, you're at odds with some of the more progressive, maybe most of the Providence City Council. They were out just not that long ago, demanding that the buses stay there. What do you say to that council?
Well, I think there are some folks who don't want to see buses relocated because it's the Rhode Island mentality. Folks don't like change. We ask that more housing be built in some of our neighborhoods. Advocates for it, those same folks will say, let's do it, but not here. We have an opportunity to, again, dialogue with civic leaders, elected leaders at the municipal and state level. Around Kennedy Plaza and relocating the buses to the train station, that seems to be the area that everybody can agree on.
It's up the hill. It's a short walk.
It's a short.
Not like we're putting it on the other end of town.
It's a short walk, but when someone gets off gets off of a train and they're running down Francis Street with their luggage, trying to catch a bus, it doesn't make sense. Link the two. My 7-year-old recently asked me, what do you do with the Providence Foundation, Daddy? So we talked about buses. I said, we want to move the buses to the train station. He said, that means we can take the bus from our house to the train station, and they got on the train and go to Boston and New York. I said, absolutely right, Bennett.
You brought up your son. Your son is in public schools in Providence?
Yes.
And you live in Providence? You've lived in Providence all your life?
I have.
You own a home, you pay taxes?
Yes.
You know you're going to pay a few bucks more to Mayor Smiley?
Yes.
Because he's on the hook for $15 million more to the schools. Are you happy about that?
I'm investing in my child's education with that tax increase. Nobody likes to pay more in taxes. That speaks to some of the issues in downtown Providence. the property values have not increased or not, they haven't increased as they have in the residential neighborhoods. If those property values in downtown continue to be stabilized or decrease, where do you think that gap in the levy is going to be made up? By homeowners, tenants alike, because it's a pass-through to renters. So we need to fill the buildings in downtown Providence, either with residents or businesses, see those property values go up, and that will alleviate the burden on the homeowner and tenants in our residential neighborhoods.
How much involvement do you want in the vision of the schools? When you were city council president, very important. The state took them away from Providence. Now the mayor wants them back. How much of a role do you see your foundation playing in that, if any?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, from a business perspective, we need folks in the trades to build buildings, look at adaptive reuse opportunities. That all starts at the education level, elementary, middle, and high school in the state of Rhode Island. This is not only a Providence problem, it's a Rhode Island problem, okay? And it needs to be addressed for the future of our economy right here in our state.
Let's stay downtown. Cross Kennedy Plaza, go to the mall. You're a cheerleader for the mall.
I am.
You tell me things are going great. I read the news every night. I don't think they're going that great. You're bankrupt. Macy's may pull out. If the Apple store ever leaves, it's lights out.
Yeah. Macy's is not leaving.
Am I right?
Macy's is not leaving. When was the last time you were in the
No,
mall?
I didn't say Macy's is leaving, guys, but they're closing stores.
Correct.
Yeah, they're not closing this one right away. Nordstrom used to be there, right in that corner. Look. Oh, there used to be a Nordstrom there.
There was.
Yep.
There was. When was the last time you were in the mall?
About a month ago, I had to go to the Apple store.
Okay. Did you see people?
I saw people, yes. And there were,
Foot traffic? People spending money?
I guess I would say yes to all of that, but that doesn't offset the larger issues over there.
Yeah.
Nordstrom left. Thank God Boscov's is there. This receivers are running it now.
Yes, and I met with the receiver yesterday. We talked about some of the issues and challenges and opportunities around the infrastructure of the building, safety. So we are in constant contact with the mall operators, i.e. the receivers at the moment. That relationship has to be sustained and continues so that there's open dialogue. Look, when I go in the mall, when I'm walking through to go to the State House or other destinations, I see consumers. They're spending money. But we have to give people a reason outside of the city to come into downtown Providence. So I think reimagining that space and providing amenities and services and a shopping experience that's conducive to today's consumer, that's what the next owner of the mall, I suspect, will want to do.
Well, they're talking about maybe putting offices in there and maybe some housing. They do that in other malls. You're a cheerleader for that. You have to be. And you got to be a cheerleader for downtown Providence. And you're talking a lot about tax incentives to make people come to move to downtown Providence. We'll continue this on the radio. Thanks for coming in now, David Salvatore.
Thank you, Jay.
Former Providence City Council President, now running the Providence Foundation.